Ovako glasi sažetak priče prosječnog američkog vojnika. On je odgajan u porodici američkih patriota koji su ga od malena učili da su Amerikanci najjača, najbogatija, najdemokratskija, najpravednija i sve ostalo nacija. Mnogo je volio da gleda filmove u kojima američki superheroji uvijek odnesu pobjedu nad silama tame i zla. Idol mu je bio ovaj tip, John Rambo, komandos i veteran Vijetnamskog rata, koji u svakom dijelu istoimenog filma mitraljezom, nožem, lukom i strijelom ili golim rukama potamani na stotine i hiljade Vijetnamaca, Rusa, Arapa i ostalih loših momaka, pritom spasivši sve nevine civile koji su se našli u paklu rata. Naravno, mali Amerikanac je još tada u sebi čvrsto odlučio, kad odrastem, bit ću kao Rambo. I odrastao je, a pošto je još uvijek mnogo volio da gleda televiziju, na njoj je između ostalog vidio i čuo svog predsjednika koji ga poziva da stupi u vojsku i tako da svoj doprinos spašavanju svijeta od zlog brkatog tiranina koji je sakupio puno opasnih sastojaka sa namjerom da proizvede nuklearno oružje koji će upotrijebiti protiv humane Amerike i sirotog miroljubivog Izraela. Mladić je osjetio da je došao njegov trenutak, spakovao se i pozdravio sa porodicom i prijateljima, rekavši na rastanku čuvenu rečenicu koju je preuzeo od još jednog svog heroja.
I'll be back.
Brzo je stigao u najbližu vojnu bazu i nakon napornog treninga bio je spreman da sjedne u avion za Irak. Čim je stigao tamo, ukapirao je da je njegov predsjednik šaljivdžija lagao. Nije bilo oružje za masovno uništenje.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Maybe under here. Nope, no weapons over there.
Zašto onda ratujemo? Zapitao se mladi patriota. Međutim, nije bilo previše vremena za razmišljanje, jer su se oni slabo naoružani pobunjenici koji nose marame preko lica pokazali mnogo manje naivnim nego što se od njih očekivalo. Okruživala su ga mrtva i ranjena tijela njegovih saboraca. Počeo je da sumnja da onaj Rambo možda i nije baziran na istinitoj priči. Počeo je da mrzi i prezire i Ramba i ovaj rat i svog predsjednika i samog sebe što je uopšte došao u ovu negostoljubljivu zemlju kod ovih divnih ljudi koji ne cijene demokratiju koju im on donosi. Sve što je želio bilo je da se vrati svojoj kući. Ali to više nije bilo tako jednostavno i lako ostvarljivo. U želji da makar na kratko zaboravi na svoju tešku situaciju, ponekad bi davao sebi oduška pucanjem u sve što se kreće, maltretiranjem zatvorenika ili vožnjom i slušanjem glasne muzike sa svojim sapatnicima. Mladi Amerikanac je skontao. Rat je ozbiljna stvar i nije ni nalik onome kakvom ga je on zamišljao. Jedino mu je bilo žao što je to prekasno shvatio. Ipak, neki su imali više sreće. Dobili su još jednu šansu. Ovo su priče onih koji su preživjeli.
Tell me what happened first.
It was probably around 11 when it actually happened. I was driving, and me and my team leader, his name's Kenny, we always sit there and talk and bullshit and, make fun of everything that we're doing and, just trying to keep a sense of humor so we keep our mind off being scared.
So wait, how are you feeling today on this wonderful day?
Just great knowing that our wonderful platoon sergeant is coming back to make their life a living hell today.
Yes, I I cannot wait either.
And if I remember correctly, I was smoking. I had my left hand on the steering wheel. I was smoking, and then the bomb went off. I didn't hear it, but I saw it, like the flash and the smoke and the fire coming through the door. So I was like, oh, we got hit, we got hit. And then I had blood on my face and the flies were landing all over my face. So I wiped my face to get rid of the flies, and that's when I noticed that my fingertip was gone. So I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I started really assessing myself. I was like, all right, that's not bad. And then I turned my hand over. I noticed like this piece of, this chunk of my hand was gone. So I was like, okay. Still not bad. I can live with that. And then when I went to wipe the flies with my face again with my left hand, there was nothing there. So that's when I was like, oh, that's gone. And then I looked down, and I saw that my legs were gone. And then they had kind of forced my head back to the ground so that hoping that I wouldn't see. And then my arm just kind of goes into the socket to about here.
And your hand? What's that? Do that again?
I can spin it all the way around. You can open and close it, and that's pretty much all it does.
Can you take my hand? Would that be a problem?
No, because
Well, you can control that very well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you heard about that? A lot of people have said that you now have 2 birthdays.
Yes, the alive day.
The day that you were born and the day that you almost died and you were alive.
Right.
Do you have any feelings on that? Or?
For right now, I feel that your alive day, everybody makes a big deal about it, especially at Walter Reed, all the therapists, and they're like, oh, it's your alive day, congratulations. And I can see their point, that you would want to celebrate something like that. But from my point of view, it's like, okay, well, we're sitting here celebrating the worst day of my life. Great. Let's just remind me of that every year. I don't know.
Well, this is my 3rd time in Iraq, and first time I was here, I thought it was the right decision. Second time, I was like, all right, well, maybe they need some more people to come over here since they chose us again. Third time, it's just a waste of time now. Too much money, too many lives lost, too many families destroyed, like mine. I miss my family more than anything. Iraq, they really don't care about us anymore. They don't want our help. This country does not want to change. And I believe it's time to go home. It's time to stop losing lives, stop wasting money, and just carry on with our lives. And that's really all I have to say. There's not much else. Just miss my family. Miss my friends that have died. I'm done with it. I'm done fighting. I'm tired of it.
I didn't know that I was blind. I kept pulling at the bandages and everything, and it was actually my ex-wife, who was my wife at the time, had to tell me that I was blind. I had lost both eyes. I've got 8 prosthetic eyes. I wear one on the right side. The left side has too much scar tissue in the socket, so I can't support one. But this eye is a nice blue color. It's got a carat's worth of diamonds in the pupil. Those are the diamonds from my wedding band. My marriage fell apart because of my injury. So I had the oculist at National Naval grind the diamonds out of my wedding band and set them in an eye. And I kind of carry that around. It's the one I wear most of the time. You know, you put that eye in, you know that's the eye with the diamonds in it, and it kind of makes you think back as to, you know, how it has truly affected your life on an emotional sense long term.
What do you remember? What are the first things that you remember?
I remember turning a corner and watching the rooftops, because I was in the turret, so I watched the rooftops and the windows, basically anything from the roof of the Humvee up to make sure we had no hostile forces. And I looked down to kick the guy in the passenger seat and tell him that we were clear up top, and that's why I was looking down. And I remember the explosion going off here, and it was a delayed detonation to the one in front of us. And I remember this guy just blowing up, and then within a couple of seconds, it just went black on me.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
It's a guerrilla war is what it is. You're fighting people that don't have uniforms. You know, I can look at you and I could look at him, if I could see. But I could look at you, I could look at him, and you could be a bad guy, he could be not, but I wouldn't know. Because you're not wearing a uniform, he's not wearing a uniform, you're all wearing gutras and robes. I grew up on all those Vietnam movies, all of those good movies, and you really glorify war. And then when you get there, you realize that this is not glory. You know, getting shot at is not fun. This is not what I want to do. It's hard to go into that situation, be successful in that situation, and complete your mission, and then come back to the United States and not have all that on your mind. Because it's not normal to sit there and kill somebody, especially if you do it up close and personal and see that person die. You know, that's going to change you. That's going to affect you mentally for the rest of your life. They come back and then you have nightmares. I had some really bad nightmares. This was really strange. Where does that come from? I never had dreams like that before I went to Iraq, before I joined the military. I never had any of those problems. Now I got them. And then you sit there and you wake up and you're like, whoa, what's wrong with me?
I decided to join the military because I was broke. I was tired of dealing drugs on the streets, and I was tired of living with my grandparents, and I was tired of not going to school, and I was tired of being American without health care. So I said, time, cut my hair, go clean cut, conform to this society and join the military. My mom freaked out, said, you know, you're going to war. I said, I want to go to war. I've been waiting my whole life to go to some combat and do something crazy like that. I don't got much to live for. I'm not. What's me dead gonna matter? I'll be a hero. I'll be remembered a great person instead of that dude that worked at the grocery store. So I signed up, shipped off, took a year in training. So then I go. My unit comes and picks me up, and it was even a trip because the other guys, their units came to pick them up, and they had dead Iraqis in the back of their truck. And I was tripping out. Why they got dead Iraqis in the back of the truck? So I get to my unit, and I'm like, you know, what are we doing? What's going on? And the guys were like, man, there's no weapons of mass destruction. The Iraqis don't want us here, and we're just trying to make it alive. And I was like, oh, now you're doing raids, observation points, traffic stops, and anything else we can think of you to do. And when I first got there, I realized the racism that the soldiers had. It was obvious to me when they talked about the Iraqis and they called them towelheads and every other name they could think of, and it really took me back. And I was like, wow, like my whole life I've been taught that this is wrong. We can't be, you know, treating people like this. But it was obvious that it came from higher than that, is that they were brainwashed into believing that Iraqis are less than them. And they're all terrorists, and if you kill an Iraqi, it's okay because another dead Iraqi is a good Iraqi. And then started to talk to the guys, and these three guys, they came to me and they boasted to me of how they had beaten a prisoner to death. And how one guy from the front punched him, and the two on the side kicked him in the head, and he just dropped. And I was like, you know, Well, what'd you guys do that for? They said, he's a mortar man. He killed a couple of our guys, so we had to take him out. The guy was handcuffed with a bag on his head. And then I talked to 2 other guys, and these guys, they had killed whole families at traffic stops. They were procedure. They come to the traffic stop, you shoot. And these guys told me, you know, I killed the father and his 3 daughters.
You know, it's been a long journey for us. You know, Eddie's truly a miracle Marine. He wasn't supposed to be here. And we struggled, you know. He was supposed to be on life support for the rest of his life, and, you know, the doctors gave us no hope.
All right, here we got Eddie observing. See what he can do.
The boys were on a rooftop, and, you know, fortunately Eddie was hit. They did what they needed to do, and they got him to Baghdad. And Balad, that's where they removed the bullets. His damage was mostly on the frontal lobes, and that talks about emotion, behavioral, you know, so a lot of that was affected on Eddie. So, you know, although he understands and he recognizes us, you know, there's still some behavioral issues that we deal with, and his brain was, 2/3 of his brain was affected.
When you first saw him, what did he look like?
He looked really bad. He was just not recognizable. We only knew it was Eddie because of his tattoos. Doctors told us he's not going to recognize you, and he's not going to know who you are. And just out of the blue one day, he just said, "Mom."
I'm currently deployed to Iraq in northwest Baghdad. I hate it here. It's hot. You're away from your family. It's very stressful. Limited amount of sleep. Sucks.
It's hot. None of us really want to be here. In my opinion, it doesn't really feel like we're doing very much. It doesn't really feel like we're very appreciated by the Iraqi people. We don't want to be here, and they don't really want us here. I mean, I know it's hard to be away from everybody. I got married like a month ago when I was on leave, and you know, it's hard to be newly married and thousands of miles away.
One thing that did cross my mind is I thought, God, you know, I'm shredded, I'm torn up. I'll be single the rest of my life. Who the hell could love me like this? I mean, who could love me like this? So I was driving on the radio, and next thing I know, it was probably not even a minute and a half later when I got hit. And I ran over a pressurized bomb. knew. I just said, shit, I'm hit, and I couldn't move. I knew it must have been really bad because I could see it in everybody's eyes, how they were looking at me, and I just thought, no way. It feels like you're a piece of trash, and instead of out a piece of trash laying on the street, you're in a hospital bed, and you go from being a part of one of the most elite fighting forces in the world to worthless. I mean, you're just sitting there. You have to have help for everything. Can't do anything by yourself.
This is to certify the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart to Corporal Jacob B. Schiff, United States Marine Corps, for wounds received in action on 20 September 2004 in Iraq.
When you look at the American flag, what do you see? Most people say, oh, American flag, okay. I could put you in a setting, that would make your skin crawl. With a bunch of gurneys and wheelchairs and people with fake limbs, no limbs, burnt faces, burnt bodies, and see them salute as good as they could to American flag.
And today, Lord, we honor those who bear the scars of that service, that testify to their duty and the protection and defense that they have provided us.
The fight doesn't stop when you get home. In our cases, it's just begun.
I was there January, February, March, no combat. We're just riding around Baghdad. I'm happy. I'm waving at Iraqis, throwing them candy, just thinking like, this isn't war. What's going on? And then Bush said, bring it on. And in April of 2004 was the month that the most soldiers died in the war till last December. And basically, the more guys we lost, the more we killed. The more guys we lost, the more drastic our procedures got. And we have some procedures that went like this. If we're in this crowd and one of you, just one of you, you could all be peaceful protesters in downtown Baghdad, but if one of you shoots at me, my superiors told me, if you get shot at, you shoot everybody that is there. And you see these soldiers that are torturing and killing and raping, and then the military trained them how to be killers and then sent them to a war, and all they know how to do in the military is kill. And that's all they teach us, how to kill. And I remember one night, it was my night off, and it was like, oh, this is the one night in like a month I'm going to get to sleep the whole night. And I get woken up at 3 in the morning to go guard the prisoners that we took in. And I remember sitting there, 22 years old, 3 in the morning, been watching my buddies die all month, and I'm mad that I'm here. I'm mad that I'm up at 3 in the morning. I should be mad at the president, I should be mad at my country, but I'm looking at these two prisoners right here, and I'm pissed at these guys. And they're sitting there handcuffed with bags on their head. And I sat there for a whole hour, smoking a Black and Mild cigar, and every few minutes I would cock my weapon. And those guys were just sitting there scared and shaking. And I sat there scaring this man out of his wits, when in reality all he was doing was walking around in public, and we just snatched him up and threw a bag on his head. So the whole time there, we're raiding houses every night. We're putting bags on people's heads. We're sending them off to Abu Ghraib while their families, these little girls, these women are crying. And one by one, we're throwing them on the back of the truck like the rag dolls and sending them off to Abu Ghraib.
Go.
We're moving to the next house.
تعال نمو تعال هنا تعال خلي تجيب لنا ربطات عافية
ما عندي شيء والله هذا بيتنا والله ما عندي شيء والله ما عندي شيء والله سجل جار نشر هذا محل هذا محل والله هذا قرايب مكتوب بيت عندي بالرحمانية يا عمارة الولي ما عندي شيء والله هاي هويتي والله هذا قرايب مكتوب بيت عندي هويتي ما شفته والله جاي يروح للشغل جاي اتغدى جاي يروح للشغل والله لا خوال ما عندي شيء والله ما عندي شيء والله ما عندي شيء شو تعال بس خلنا بالله يا رحمن وانت بس خلنا بالله خلينا نفك شو ما عندي شيء والله رحمن
Put him right in front of this fucking truck and fucking son.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jonathan Bartlett. I was 19 when I got hit in Iraq. We were just outside of Fallujah, got blown up. Long story. It hurt a bunch, and now I have shiny legs. That's my truck. I got chucked out of the door. I was like outside the truck. I was found over here, like in this area. And these were about, these holes right here were big enough at the bottom to stick an M4 in, which is like this long. See, this is where my head went through the steering wheel. See how it's broken?
Why did you join the Army?
Because I believed in it. I wanted to. I wanted to go and, you know, protect the nation and defend it and punish those who would seek to destroy it. I really, really wanted to. I believe in that. If I wouldn't do that now, not anymore. Like if they gave me legs tomorrow, I would go and pursue my other goals, but I really, really, really felt like it was a good idea. I had invested so much into being a soldier, into defending my country, that it was like the glass that I was on shattered on the floor. Everything went away. There was nothing, because I couldn't be in the military anymore. I could, but I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't do what I was good at. It tore me up. Like every time I looked into that mirror of what I used to be, or what I was, I saw somebody trying to stand up, and there was all this blood and pain, and he couldn't stand up. He couldn't do anything. He just lied there and screamed. It was bad. You wake up in the hospital and you don't have your legs anymore, you're going to cry. You try to move around and you can't, you cry. You can't sleep for a week when you're getting off the sleep meds, you cry. You sit there and you have pain to such an extreme that you can't control your body, you cry. You feel loss, you cry. It happens.
Alright, first off, I'd like to say that a person can be loyal to his country without being loyal to the people who run his country. I have faith in my chain of command and my leaders, but basically I think we're in a stupid, pointless war because a lot of politicians either A, can't admit that they were wrong, or B, are making a lot of money off of this war. This war is stupid and pointless. This is not our country, not our fight. We're in the middle of a civil war that's been going on for a couple of thousand years now. This war is costing my country billions of dollars every month. This war is contributing to the collapse of our economy and the devaluation of the American dollar. And it's just stupid and pointless and ruining our country.
The insurgents are waiting a quarter of a mile away, waiting just to push a button. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wal azallah, Allahu Akbar. There was only 4 of us in the Humvee: the driver, the tactical commander, the scout, my best friend, and the gunner. If I would have told my best friend to sit behind me, maybe he would still be alive. That blast blew the door off the second Humvee, the back door behind the driver, and the scout who was scanning, he was severed. Half of his body went with the door and fell out of the Humvee. His legs were still in the Humvee. And all I heard was screaming, and everything went black. The shrapnel just exploded. It went everywhere. And the shrapnel that went into my cheekbone went up into my brain. They say I was in a coma for 12 days. I'm like a 6-year-old in a man's body. I'm like, if you see me on the street, I would look normal, but I'm not. I have a closed head injury, a closed traumatic brain injury. And when I can't remember my own kid's name, it's like you're walking and you're thinking, okay, who do I can't ask a nurse what my kid's name. I can't ask a therapist. Who do I ask? If I call my brother, he's at work. And I feel stupid. I go to memory groups at the VA hospital, occupational therapy, neurological. I see a psychologist twice a week. And it's just that I try to build up back to where I used to be. Sure, they give you medals and they tell you, you know, you're alive, but you feel empty. You feel like you lost.
Huckabee talks about honor. Honor? Are you kidding me? You saying that it's an honor to die in Iraq and to fight a war that we started and we're in the wrong. If you want to know the soldiers' opinion, you should ask them. But I'm tired of these politicians speaking on our behalf and using our name to lobby and to try to win this election. And this war is not about honor. This war is about profiteering. This war is about money. And you know what's the worst part? Is these politicians sending us to war go after their stocks and their money invested in these wars. And that's what's profiteering. We're nothing but pawns being used for their political agendas. When are we going to realize that people fighting in Iraq against us, they're not terrorists, they're soldiers. What would we do if somebody invaded us? I know I will pick up my weapon and fight against them. What the hell we call them? Terrorists? These people want their country back. Let's give them their country back. It's that simple.
My mom has always told me anytime that you feel weak or you feel troubled, you know, you ask for God's help and you ask for angels to come and help you also. Didn't matter what religion you were. It didn't matter if you were atheist, Christian, Jewish, Indian, spoke to the spirits, whatever you did, you prayed to whoever you prayed to every time before we went out to wire.
Watch that van right there! Watch that van, watch that van! Watch your van! We're okay!
After I got hit, one of my kids, Stuart, Lance Corporal Stuart,
Yeah.
he came up to me and he was like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Why are you sorry?" He goes, "Well, I could have put that armor on better." And not his fault. That's the worst. Seeing one of your guys sorry for what happened. You know, they were blowing up these Humvees left and right. You know, it's not a fighting vehicle. It's a transportation vehicle.
So what's the hardest thing? You're sitting there, and I guess your wife and your kids came up, and were they there with you a lot of the time?
Well, I didn't want my kids to see me in that way at that point. I wanted them to see me up and able to move around and, you know, do dad things with them, you know. And that was really hard to see my kids look at me in that way of, like, what happened, you know. So my daughter, she would draw pictures, and Dad has, you know, she'd cut one leg off, you know, in her picture, and then it would become from a cutoff to a robot to, you know, so they call me Dad with robot legs, you know. They don't care because they're like, "Hey, guess what, my dad, he's got robot legs now."
Tako govore oni koji su preživjeli. Imajući u vidu ono kroz šta su oni prošli i još uvijek prolaze, ne možemo a da se ne zapitamo da li je bolje pod A. poslušati gospodina predsjednika, otići u daleku zemlju koja nikada nije naudila niti zaprijetila tvojoj zemlji, uključiti se u rat i rizikovati svoj život, ruku, nogu, oko ili polovinu mozga i nakon toga živjeti u depresiji i kriviti sudbinu zbog svega što se dogodilo.
Freedom is always worth the price.
Ili pod B, ostati kući i živjeti u miru, sačuvavši svoj život, svoje udove, svoj brak i smisao za humor.
How about sending home the soldiers with their lives.
President Obama, in honor of Veterans Day, I ask you not to escalate troops in Afghanistan.
Sir, I urge you to be a great leader, recognize where we're at in Afghanistan, recognize that more troops are only going to make the problem worse. They're not going to destroy al-Qaeda, and it's not going to stabilize Pakistan. And I will ask you to stop combat operations in villages and valleys where our troops are dying only because the people who are fighting us there are fighting us because they're occupied.
Further troops in Afghanistan is going to escalate the violence, it's going to escalate the Taliban recruiting effort, and is certainly not going to create a better situation. We all recognize that we need security in that region, but I think it's a security that needs to be borne by the Afghan people, not by American and coalition forces.
I hope you make the right choice, because it's our blood that is on the line.
Bomb detonated in around 12. Suicide bomber killed 4 and wounded 30 others when he tried killing at least 44, wounding